Welcome back. Now let's look at paper 22 from May-June 2023. And as always, I will say, well, as well as watching this video, I'd also recommend, of course, checking the mark scheme. And if the video is too slow, then you can watch at 1.25 or 1.5 times the speed. Okay, it says, well, we should refer to the insert for the list of pseudocode functions and operators. And I mean, just kind of expanded on that, I would say, well, let's say as part of your revision, part of that should be, just, read this a couple of times, right? Make sure you're aware of all of the functions. Right? Of course, that's going to save you a lot of time in the exam. And also, some people, they let's say they try to write a solution in the exam, but of course, and they're thinking like, how do I do this? Right? Not knowing that there's actually a function right in the insert, right, to do exactly that. So anyway, well, number one then, a program calculates the postal cost based on the weight of the item and its destination. Calculations occur at various points in the program, and these results in the choice of several possible postal costs. The program has built these postal costs into the program. For example, the postal cost of $3.75 is used in the following lines of pseudocode. Right, so if weight is less than 250 and valid address equals true, right, then we assign 3.75 to the postal cost. Right, we also assign the string valid to the item status. Then end if. Right, so actually, to be honest, like this one, it says identify more appropriate way of representing the postal cost. Like this one, what I thought they were asking is, I thought they were going to say, well, we can make this a record, and then of course you have, let's say, item.postal cost or item.status, and then of course you can have many different items. Of course, you can store it as an array. But I think actually in this case, right, they're actually only talking about this. So what they're going to say is, well, rather than kind of hard coding it as a literal value or as a numeric literal, what you do is, you just make it a constant. And then we want to describe the advantages of, what's the advantages of using constants, with reference to this program. So I guess we can say, constants, they're going to be sort of easy to spot. I'm just going to sort of write a plan, easy to spot. Since, one, they should be capitalized, right? Two, we should really, declare them at the top of our program. I guess, also easy to change. Since, of course, we only have to change it in one place. And, I guess it's going to make the code easier to understand, maybe. Yeah, so I think, hopefully that's going to be 3 marks. Let's say, Well, let's say, since we should declare constants at the top, let's say declare constants at the top of our program. They should be easy to spot, or they are easy. They are easy to spot. And I guess and it helps the programmer kind of understand the behavior of the program. Let's say it helps. Helps the let's just say that it helps the programmer. Understand. Okay, well, let's say understand the important data for the program. Because of course, otherwise, if the constants are if the data is just scattered around everywhere, right? Maybe it's a bit complex. Whereas if you see like 5 constants at the top of the program, well, then of course you can think, well, what happens if we change these constants, right? And of course it's kind of obvious to know, what's critical for the program. Let's say the important data in the program. I think we can then say maybe what if let's say to change, to change the value. Right, so to change the value, we only have to modify it in one place. We only have to modify it. Let's say modify it in one place. Rather than it being scattered throughout the program. Rather than, let's say many places throughout the program. And I think here I've said very easy to spot, helps the programmer understand. So I guess for spot we can say maybe aids readability. I mean that's probably a good word of saying it, or yeah, I guess a good way of saying this. And then yeah, maybe I was going to mention throughout the program as well. Since did I mention they're capitalized? No. Yeah, I guess right. Okay, let's say that right. Since constants are capitalized, and I feel here I'm kind of waffling for 3 marks, but yeah, I mean hopefully this is going to be enough. Right, since constants are capitalized. Right, yeah, I guess yeah, they're easy. I guess yeah, they're easy to identify. Yeah, I guess we're easy to identify. Maybe like amongst our code. All right, yeah. So hopefully that's going to be enough. Right then, the next one, the 3 lines of pseudocode contains features that make them easier to understand. State 3 of these features. Right, okay, so I guess what one we can say are what's going to be sort of meaningful, or yeah, I guess meaningful, suitable, identifier names. Right, we also say there's indentation, because obviously, yeah, this is inside the if statement, right, it's going to be indented. Yeah, okay, I mean, all right, and then, yeah, well, here there's also comments. All right, so let's say those 3. So, right, let's go comments. Yeah, let's say what meaningful identifier names. And when we say identifier, well, that not only means variables, but also right constants, functions, procedures. Yeah, if we have a type. So of course, just anything we have to give a name to. Right, and then what else do we say? Right, I think indentation. Yeah, I think that's fine. Right, give the appropriate data types for the following variables. Right, valid address. So if we see, valid address, right, they're comparing with a Boolean. So of course, right, yeah, this is going to be a Boolean. In fact, right, let's capitalize it, since in pseudocode, I guess they're capitalized. Okay, yeah, there we go. Right then, item postal cost, well, that's right 3.75. All right, so of course that's going to be a real. And then if we look at the status, well, we see right here that's going to be valid. Right, basically it's going to be a string. Yeah, because I guess it's probably not a case of just valid or invalid, right? Maybe there's valid, invalid, right, pending, maybe out of stock. Yeah, of course there can be many different status types. Okay, number 2, a program stores a user's date of birth using the variable my DOB, my date of birth of type date. Write a pseudocode statement using a function from the insert to assign the value corresponding to the 17th of November 2007. So if we just open this insert then, and yeah, this should be near the bottom. If we see here, right, date functions. So of course, day, month, year, right, it's not those. But then yeah, if we see here this set date, well, this takes a day, a month, and a year. All right, all are going to be integers. Then it's going to return a date object. So let's just go here, and yeah, we can just write that. Right, and so we want to assign this to my DOB, so let's go my DOB, right, my date of birth, right, the assignment arrow, and it's set date. Right, and then so here's right 17, right 11, and then yeah 2007. Okay, my date of birth has been assigned a value representing the user's date of birth. Write a pseudocode statement to calculate the number of months from the month of the user's birth until the end of the year, and to assign this to the variable num-months. Right, for example, if my date of birth contains a value representing, I guess here 7. So 7, I don't know, is that July? I think that's July. Right, the value 5 would be assigned to num-months. Because of course, what they're doing is they're doing 12. I guess yeah, minus 7. Right, that's going to be 5. And I will actually just have a look at this num-months, because some of them are possibly a bit strange. Like if we look at this day index, well here, right, they're saying that Sunday is going to be the first day. So we also want to look, yeah, let's just see what my month, or not my month, right? I was thinking like my date of birth. So yeah, just month, where it's going to return the current month from this date. Rest of course here it just returns 10. Okay, so it's just returning the number directly. Yeah, it's not doing some weird, like index 0 or anything like that. So in this case then, what is just going to be, num-months. Right, so this is the variable we're assigning it to. Right, then it's going to be, so 12, and then yeah, minus, right, and then it's going to be this month function. And then I guess month of my DOB. Right. Yeah, okay, DOB. And again, of course, well, yeah, I mean, this should just be what, 12 minus 7. And of course, right, that's going to assign 5 to this num months. Then C, the program will output the day of the week corresponding to my date of birth. For example, right, given this date, the program will output Thursday, an algorithm is required. An array will be used to store the names of the days of the week and define the array and describe the algorithm in 4 steps. Okay, do not use pseudocode statements in your answer. So for this one, well, I mean, yeah, I guess, I mean, obviously we want to think like how are we actually going to convert this array into something that, of course, well, we can create an array and then, yeah, of course, well, you know, just index that array and of course, yeah, then output the corresponding day. I mean, that probably didn't make much sense, but if we actually look here, right, there is a function. So yeah, this day index, right, this is going to take a date, then well, I think as we've seen before, it's going to return the current day index number from this date where Sunday is 1, Monday is 2, right, Tuesday 3. Yeah, therefore I guess what Thursday is going to be day 5. Yeah, so hopefully that makes sense. And then what we can do, so for the array definition, again, so this says, well, don't use pseudocode statements in your answer. Let's just kind of, yeah, explain it as a sentence. Right, let's say what an array, let's say array containing 7 day, or I guess, right, let's say containing 7 strings. Right, 7 strings. Yeah, representing what days of the week. Yeah, days of week. Let's say what from, and let's say well Sunday right to Saturday. Yeah, so I think that's fine. Yeah, all right, and then so if we think step 1. And you know, actually, like, yeah, I mean, I will be honest, right, I was a bit confused because, I mean, since the array definition, I kind of assume, well, we've already assigned, but then actually, well, step 1 they say it's going to be assigned. So, I mean, let me just make a plan because, to be honest, you know, I always get confused with these questions. It's like, well, yeah, of course, you know, making your own solution is okay, but like trying to break it down into like, let's say the exact same 4 steps that they have in the mark scheme, you know, is actually quite difficult. So I think, yeah, 1 is probably assigned because, I mean, like, well, this my date of birth, I think we don't have to assign to, right? We can assume that's already got the value, yeah, since they kind of told us already. Right, so I think, yeah, 1 is going to be what assign the days to this day array. Right, 2, I guess that can be, well, I guess, yeah, use the date index function, or let's say, yeah, date index. Right, 3, I guess, well, let's say calculate the index. Well, okay, not calculate the index. Let's say, right, maybe get name. All right, so get name from the index or get the day name from the index. And then I think 4, that can just be output. So yeah, let's try and explain these. Right, let's say, yeah, assign, right, these 7, I guess, well, let's say, yeah, assign these 7 strings. Yeah, representing the day names. And again, it feels kind of like we're repeating ourselves. You know, let's go right Sunday. Yeah, Sunday to Saturday. Well, let's say, yeah, to the array mentioned above. Right, and then so 2, well, let's say, yeah, use the day index function. And I think, yeah, does that have a underscore between it? I'm not sure. I mean, well, let's have a look at that. Yeah, does it have an underscore? Okay, alright, so yeah, here there's no underscore between this. Whereas, like, if you look at some of them, for, let's say what string to num, yeah, string to num, okay, they are separated by underscores. Right, okay, so yeah, let's say use the day index function. What to calculate or well to return. Let's say right the yeah, what's I don't know, day index of the week. Yeah, let's say right day index of the week. Right from I guess yeah my DOB. Alright, I think that should be okay. Step 3. So what this is, let's say what get the day name. Yeah, okay, right. Okay, let's say get the day name. Right from the array. Right, let's say yeah at the index. Or yeah, okay, right. Let's say at the index calculated in step 2. Right, and then I guess well 4 was just yeah output. Let's say right output the day name. yeah, output the day name to the user. Yeah, I think that should be okay. Yeah, and I mean here, right, 6 marks, so I guess there's going to be 2 marks for the array definition probably. Probably saying it's going to contain 7 strings, and then yeah, maybe given the example, right, Sunday to Saturday. Then 3a, program stores data in a text file. When data is read from the file, it's placed in a queue. The diagram below represents an abstract data type or ADT implementation of the queue. Each data item is stored in a separate location in the data structure. Right, during initial design, the queue is limited to holding a maximum of 10 data items. The operation of this queue may be summarized as follows. The front queue pointer points to the next data item to be removed. Okay, right, the end queue pointer points to the last data item added, and the queue is circular so that locations can be reused. Yeah, okay, I mean, so hopefully that makes sense, right? Of course, if we're going to add something to the queue, right, well then, of course, right, the end queue pointer is then just going to increment. Of course, if it gets to the end, right, well then it's going to wrap around back to 0 here. And of course, well, when we're dequeuing, right, then the front of queue pointer is of course just going to increment as well. And again, of course, what if the front of queue pointer again, right, if it gets to the end, yeah, then the front of queue pointer is right then going to go back to the beginning as well. Right, so describe how the data items orange and yellow are added to the queue shown in the diagram. Alright, so I guess, I mean, yeah, we kind of just explained that. I mean, we probably also want to check if the queue is full. So yeah, let's say, right, for each, right, maybe for each item we, okay, right, let's say for each item we enqueue. Right, okay, well, let's say first, yeah, let's go first, ensure the queue is not full. Right, and then I guess, yeah, once we've done that, and you know, to be honest, right, usually they would actually have another variable which is going to be the, let's say, the current count of how many items there are. And of course, well, we just check, right, if the current count is equal, you know, to the maximum size. And of course, well, in this case, they said the maximum size is 10, right? Then, of course, we know it's full. If in this case they don't have that, then, I mean, well, then it's going to be a little bit more tricky, right? They're going to need, yeah, various like if statements. I think you can also do it using mod as well. But yeah, that's going to be a little bit more tricky. Right, so well, okay, right, let's say we want to first ensure the queue is not full. Or let's say what if it is, then display an error message. Yeah, I mean, I guess they don't necessarily have to display an error message, but yeah, I guess they could. Right, and then let's say what if not full. Right, then what we can do, I guess we can say, well, if the end of queue pointer is less than the length minus 1, so I mean basically what if it's not equal to 9. Right, okay, let's say if not full, right, if, yeah, or, I mean, okay, like, or we could just say that we, yeah, of course, well, we could say, well, we just add 1 to the end of queue pointer, and then if it becomes bigger than 9, right, then of course we just set it back. But I think I'm going to say, right, let's say, yeah, if the, well, let's say, yeah, end of queue pointer, I mean, it's quite long to actually write that. Right, yeah, end of queue, right, pointer, what is less than 9? Right, yeah, then we simply increment it. Right, let's say, yeah, increment it by 1. Right, we say what else? Right, yeah, we reset it to 0. Right, I guess, well, when, yeah, I mean, when we've done that, right, then we can just insert the item in that position. Yeah, I guess, I guess, yeah, once calculated the end of queue pointer, or, yeah, we can just say next, I think. I mean, or let's say next. Right, so next, yeah, what we can insert the data at that, you know, end of queue position. Yeah, okay, right, yeah, we can insert, right, the data, right, at, yeah, that queue position. I guess, right, let's say, right, end of queue position. And then I think here, I mean, since they've given us an example, like, let's try and actually be specific for this example. Right, let's say, yeah, I don't know, maybe, I'm going to say, right, hence, maybe. Right, let's say, yeah, hence, in this example. Right, we say what orange would be, Alright, let's say yeah, orange, and I'm going to put that in brackets, right? It's probably, I mean not brackets, right? In quotes, it's probably a string. Right, so orange, yeah, would be enqueued. Right, okay, let's say enqueued, yeah, at index 9. Right, and obviously, yeah, while yellow. Right, while yellow, right, quotes, yeah, would be enqueued at index 0. Okay, right hand, yeah, index 0. Right, then the following diagram shows the state of the queue after several operations have been performed. All queue locations have been used at least once. Right, okay, so yeah, obviously, well, in this case then what we've had wraparound because what the end of queue pointer is, well, obviously, yeah, wrapped around here back to index 1. Right, state the number of data items in the queue. So to do this, well, we're just going to start at the front of queue pointer, I mean, then literally just count. Right, so of course, what, I mean, here it's going to be 1, right, then 2, yeah, 3, 4, 5, and then 6 and 7. So of course, yeah, I mean these 7. And if we say, I mean, these 3 positions here, well, of course, I mean, previously the front of queue pointer, you know, would have been here, for example. But then, of course, yeah, these have then been dequeued. Right? And since they've been dequeued, well, that's why the front of queue pointer is, you know, moved down. So in here, that's just 7. Right, the design of the queue is completed and the number of locations is increased. A function add to queue has been written, takes a string as a parameter and adds this to the queue. The function will return true if the string was successfully added. Right, a procedure file to queue will then add each line from the file to the queue. Right, okay, this procedure will end when all lines are being added to the queue, right, or when the queue is full. Right, describe the algorithm for file to queue. Okay, so right, I mean, how many do they give? Right, 5. I guess, right, file to queue, so what does it need to do then? It just needs to, well, open the, I guess, well, let's say open the file, let's say, what, read the file line by line, so maybe we're going to have a while loop, so yeah, let's say, you know, while not end of file, we're going to read the file line by line. So I guess actually there's a few conditions, right, so yeah, while not the end of file, and then yeah, what's the other one? Right, I guess, yeah, I guess what, and, yes, what, and, right, I mean, so I think there's not really, yeah, there's not really a way for actually us to determine if it's empty or not. Right, we're going to have to determine that by using add to queue. So let's go, yeah, I know, maybe like, you know, previous successful equals true, or we can get like not, yeah, let's say like not full. And then what we want to do, so inside here, what we want to call, let's go add to queue. And if add to queue is successful, well then, yeah, we don't do anything. Yeah, so I think if it's successful, then yeah, we just don't do anything. Right, if it's unsuccessful, then we can set this sort of full variable to be true. And of course, yeah, what we want to keep looping, right, while it's not the end of the file. Yeah, and right, while full is not equal to true. And of course, right, at the end, then I guess we can just say close file at the end. Right, so I think that should be all we need to do. Okay, so I think, well, let's say first then, right, first, I guess we'll open the file, yeah, in read mode. Right, yeah, let's say open the file in read mode. Right, let's say, yeah, and loop. Right, let's say, yeah, loop while not the end of the file. Right, let's say, yeah, while not the end of the file. Right, let's say, yeah, and I guess what, yeah, while the queue is not full. Yeah, and I guess, well, let's say how this is represented, right? Let's say represented. Or let's say, yeah, with a, I think we can just call it full. Or let's say full variable. Or let's say that, yeah, we initialized. And I guess what we're going to initialize this at false, right, to start with. Yeah, and I think, I mean, since they say don't use pseudocode, of course, well, we can just write this in lowercase, that's fine. Right, so I think, yeah, that's going to handle the loop. Then we can say, right, let's say inside the loop. Right, so inside the loop, we want to, well, let's say what, read each line of the file. Well, I guess, okay, well, let's say, yeah, read the current line. right, well, current line, yeah, of the file, yeah, and assign it to a variable. Or let's, yeah, assign it to a line variable. Right, we can say, I mean, we'll have an if statement basically. So yeah, right, let's say you'll have an if statement. Right, and let's see what that checks. What checks if add to queue was successful. Right, that, yeah, okay, right, let's say that checks right, if add to queue was successful. And I think in brackets, well, let's say called with the line parameter. Yeah, I guess, well, I mean, called, I know, maybe, let's say what, by passing the, yeah, let's say, right, passing the line variable as the parameter. Right, yeah, let's say, right, as a parameter. Right then, okay, so what if it was, right, have an if statement that checks if add to queue was successful. Yeah, I guess, well, I mean, if it was, do nothing. So let's say, maybe, right, if failed, then what do we want to do? Like, do we want to output an error message? No, so I think, yeah, we don't need to output any sort of error message. Alright, so well, let's say if failed, then what that's going to do is, well, it's just going to set this full to be true. Right, okay, yeah, let's say then set the full variable, or I guess what we say, the full flag, right, to true. And we say what, yeah, which will hence, terminate the loop. Yeah, so I guess we'll terminate the loop right on the next iteration. And then I think so well, let's say finally, you know, close the file. Yeah, so I think, I mean, that should be everything, hopefully. And again, you know, obviously, well, of course, yeah, I mean, I guess, you know, you don't have to write this, you know, pseudocode here, but I think if you just write a simple plan, that's probably a good idea, you know, rather than just sort of like aimlessly writing, because yeah, probably you're going to sort of forget something, and then you'll have to, of course, where you'll have to, you know, cross things out, you'll have to go back, right? So yeah, if you got a good plan, right, you can probably, you know, write it out quite quickly then. Okay, next, a function getNum will take two parameters, a string and a character. It will count the number of times the character occurs in the string. Then it's going to return the count. Right, hang on. Yeah, let me just, okay, kind of unselect that draw. Right, any comparison between characters needs to be case sensitive. For example, character small a and character big A are not identical. Right, and then write pseudocode for getNum. Okay, so let's just copy this. Yeah, okay, right, let me exit full screen. Right, and then, well, let's just try and open the website here, and we'll just write it. Alright, so, okay. And yeah, let's just comment that out and maybe make it a bit bigger. So, I mean, this one, like, basically this is just linear search, but rather than returning true or false, well, we're just going to return a count. And, you know, linear search, there's kind of a few variations, right, of course. Yeah, one is just searching, well, true or false, does it exist, does it not exist? Another variation of linear search is, well, again, right, returning the count, how many times does it exist? Then another variation would be, let's say, returning the index. And, you know, usually that's going to be what the first index that it exists. But it could also be the last index, right, which is, yeah, going to be a little bit more difficult. I mean, if you think the last index, well, you're just going to start from the right of the array, okay, start from the end of the array, and then just, yeah, loop right to left. So, yeah, kind of, you know, decrementing the counter, right, rather than incrementing the counter. Anyway, well, let's go function, right, this is going to be getNum. Right, so it's going to take a string and a character. I mean, let's just call it, I don't know, maybe like search string, I think that should be fine. Right, and then this is, well, I guess what this is, yeah, the search character. Right, and then this, let's say returns, right, of course that's going to be an integer. Right, then what do we want to do? So I guess we want to get the current character because, well, we're just going to be looping through character by character. And I mean, if we've got a loop, then I guess we also need an index. So let's go declare, right, current char, that's going to be a character. Although I think actually in this case we actually don't really need this, to be honest, because I think we're only going to need to use mid one time. Right, so let's go for index, and yeah, of course actually one thing we are going to need is going to be a count. And right, let's just initialize this count to 0. Right, so of course, well, the index is going to be 1, then it's going to be 2 the length of the search string. Right, and then inside here, I think we can just go if, and of course, well, I mean, hopefully people know this by now, yeah, if you've seen the other videos. Then to get the current character, well, we're just going to go search string. Right, we're going to start at index, and then we're just going to get one character. And let's check that if this is equal to the search character, well, then we just want to increment the count. Yeah, then we can just have end if. So I think in this case, right, we don't really need the search char, right, since we only need to use this mid one time. Right, then we can just go next index. And yeah, I think that should be fine, right, if we just go return count. And yeah, let's go end function. Right, so let's just test that, and I'm just going to go GetNum. Right, let's go, I think we can just go pseudocode. And actually, right, let's have, okay, well, right, I was going to say there's two P's. Right, if we go say pseudocode pro, right, of course, right, it's going to be, well, yeah, big P rather than small. So here, well, let's try and search for, I don't know, just the small p. Right, and then let's also try, I guess maybe, yeah, let's try O. Well, there should be 3 of those. Then E, yeah, I think, well, there should be 2 E's. And then, all right, let's also search something that doesn't exist, like a Z or something. And yeah, let's try this. Yeah, okay, all right, so I think, yeah, this seems to be okay. And right. Okay, then right, question 5. A programmer has produced the following pseudocode to output the square root of the numbers from 1 to 10. Line numbers are for reference. Okay, yeah, reference only. Right, so they're declaring a number that's going to be typed real. They're then going to assign this with the real value, well, 1.0. Right, then they've got some loop, so they're going to repeat that. Well, they're going to repeatedly call display square root of this number. Right, so if we look at this then, and yeah, let's just get the pen again. So, right, display square root, well, it's going to take a parameter by reference. Right, well, yeah, that's going to be the number, that's also going to be real. Right, then it's going to output the number. Right, then it's going to use this square root function. Right, of course, it's then going to update this number. Right, well, then it's just going to output, and yeah, I guess output the number. Right, then if we go back here to the loop, watch, it's just going to increment this, right, until the number is greater than 10. Right, it says the pseudocode is correctly converted into program code. Function square root is a library function and contains no errors. The program code compiles without errors, but the program gives unexpected results. These are caused by a design error. Right, explain why the program gives unexpected results, and right, 3 marks. So, I mean, probably for this, right, like if it's not immediately obvious, because actually this one is a bit tricky. Probably the best way to do it is, just kind of trace through it in your head. Right, so of course, well, here it's starting at 1. Alright, then if we call square root of number, well, of course, here we're going to output 1. Yeah, I think the output is not really that important, probably. Right, and then, bear in mind, right, this is by reference. So then what we do, well, we calculate square root of this number, right, we assign this to this num. So what, in effect, the square root of 1 is just going to be 1. Right, therefore, yeah, this num, of course, well, it's just going to stay as 1. And note that, of course, right, since this is by reference, well, what that means, right, it's actually this one. So yeah, because it works, of course, right, this variable and this variable, they're the same thing, right? They're, I guess if we kind of draw it, basically what they're going to be pointing to the same address in memory. Yeah, of course, currently, right, that just holds the value 1. Alright, then it's just going to output this. Right, then we say the next time, so right, then here it's going to increment to 2. So yeah, let's just write that as 2. Right, of course, until num is greater than 10, right, that's false. So right, it's going to loop again. Right, then it's going to call display square root of num again. Right, it's just going to output that. Then if we think this time, well, the square root of 2, like, actually, I'm not sure exactly. Is it something like, 1.41 or, something like that? Right, so of course, we can see this has actually gone wrong. And then, like, now if we go to line 42, of course, then we're going to plus 1. So now it's going to become, 2? So, well, of course, 2.41. Whatever that value is going to be. So I think this is the problem, right? Is the fact, well, since they're using BYREF, then it's actually modifying. It's kind of modifying this count variable, where it's not just going to output the square root of 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. Like if we think the next time, it's going to output the square root of 2.41. So yeah, I think let's try and explain that, right? Since right, let's say, yeah, since we pass, I guess we'll pass, I mean, I was going to say this num, but I guess, right, let's say, yeah, the parameter. Yeah, or let's say what using, yeah, I don't know, like the, yeah, BYREF. Yeah, right, yeah, since we passed the parameter using BYREF, right, to display square root. Right, and then, well, I mean, let's say the line number caused the error, right? Then we can say, I guess, what, yeah, then on line 52. Right, okay, yeah, on line 52, right, we, let's say, calculate, right, calculate and return. Well, I guess, yeah, I mean, not return. Let's say calculate and assign. Right, calculate and assign, yeah, the square root, right, yeah, of the, well, I guess, of the parameter or argument. Right, to, well, I guess, what, this num. And then I think, I mean, let's say, well, this is the same, I mean, of course, well, yeah, obviously, this is just the same memory address as, you know, this num variable. Right, okay, all right, let's say, yes, since, I don't know, right, since using BYREF, I guess, well, yeah, let's say, right, this modifies. Or let's say, yeah, modifies the global num variable. And it, yeah, I mean, I don't know, like here you can say, right, yeah, as they're referencing the same memory address, like if you want, you can say that. So let's say they're as, yeah, they're referencing the same memory address. Because I'm trying to think, you know, what are they going to give us the marks for? Right, and then I think, I mean, let's say, so the problem, of course, well, then when we add 1 to it, yeah, it's not necessarily going to be the correct value. Yeah, I know, so we could say, right, this, yeah, I guess what this means. Right, let's say, yeah, that when we increment num, what we say, I know, yeah, I guess what, it may not be a whole number, like, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, I guess, yeah, in that order. Yeah, I know, well, let's say, right, it won't be, right, in the sequence. Right, let's say, yeah, in the sequence, you know, 1, 2, right, 3, yeah, 4. I guess we're up until, is it 10, I think? Yeah, 10. Yeah, I mean, so hopefully, right, hopefully that should be a good enough description. I mean, you know, some of these, right, it's kind of like in your head, you know what it, yeah, I guess you know, kind of, you know, I guess what the problem is. But yeah, putting it into words can sometimes be, you know, a little tricky. Right, then we want to explain why the compiler does not identify this error. And well, of course, well, this is because, well, I mean, there's no syntax error. So let's say that, right, yeah, there's no syntax error. Yeah, let's say, right, yeah, only a logic error. Yeah, you know, which the compiler can identify. And of course, you know, like, well, I mean, obviously the compiler can identify this because, I mean, like, well, maybe this is actually the intended behavior of the program. So of course, I mean, yeah, you know, the compiler can't really, like, read your mind. Right, then describe how the, well, how a typical development environment, or yeah, IDE, right, integrated development environment, could be used to identify this error. So well, let's say what we could add a breakpoint. Then we can, I guess you could mention single step, right? You can also mention the report window. So yeah, I think let's try that. Let's say maybe yeah, add a breakpoint. And we can say what on the line, I mean, let's say on line 42, right, where they're, yeah, I think let's say that. I mean, we could say right inside the loop. I mean, yeah, or we could say what inside the loop, right, or procedure. Yeah, where we want to inspect the, I guess we'll inspect the value of num. Right, yeah, let's inspect the value of the num variable. Now I think sometimes, I mean, they like us to be specific, so yeah, let's say, right, yeah, e.g. line 42. So, and like, where's the one we assign? Right, it's going to be, okay, well, let's say 42, right, or 52, yeah, where we assign. Right, I guess we can say what, I don't know, yeah, we can evaluate its contents. Well, not evaluate, I guess, yeah, we can see its contents in the report window. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of saying the same thing, right? I guess, let's say, yeah, maybe we can, right, inspect its well, alright, we said this. Yeah, we can inspect the value of, right, num variable. Okay. And then I think here we can just, lead on from this part, right? Let's see, in the report window. Yeah, I think, grammatically, right, that makes sense. Right, and then I guess finally, well, let's mention single stepping. It's kind of a different order to, how I've done it here, but yeah, I think it's fine. Right, let's see, yeah, we can also use single stepping. Right, to execute statement by statement. Yeah, I mean, well, statement by statement, right, or yeah, line by line. Right, let's say, yeah, to see, which statement is causing the error. And what, yeah, let's say, right, and hence, I guess, sort of, yeah, try to understand and fix it. Yeah, right, understand and fix it. Alright, I think that should be okay. Right, the pseudocode is converted into program code as part of a large program. During compilation, a complex statement generates an error. The programmer does not want to delete the complex statement, but wants to change the statement so that it's ignored by the compiler. Right, state how this may be achieved. So I think you can say, what, two ways. Maybe, yeah, just comment it out. So of course, when we say comment it out, what you're just going to, replace it with, yeah, 2 slashes at the start, for example. Right, so let's say comment it out, yes, so that statement is ignored. Right, let's say, yes, so that statement is ignored. I guess, yeah, but he doesn't delete the code. Or I guess, well, yeah, it doesn't specify, is it a man or a woman? Yeah, I don't know. Alright, well, let's say they, alright, yeah, but they don't delete the code. Or yeah, also, well, they don't delete the line. Yeah, for when they need it again. Right, and then I think another thing you could say, of course, commenting it should be fine. Right, another way you say, what, you can just like manually assign it a value. Like, let's say you, I don't know, you have some function to, calculate some, complex, I don't know, some complex process. What you could do is, well, let's call that x. Right, like, I mean, rather than actually having it calculate, you could just give it an example value, like, let's say 5. And of course, yeah, this would just be like a simple, sort of dummy value. But, I guess you say, well, as long as this is, correct, right, then it should work. Like, maybe you had another example where you want to sort of like validate an email address. And of course, well, if it's a valid email address, right, let's say you actually want to return the email address. Right, if it's an invalid email address, well, maybe just, return an empty string. So of course, in that case, well, you just give it some, right, test at, I don't know, like gmail.com or something. So again, of course, right, just using a dummy value. So yeah, I think if you say dummy value like that, right, they should accept that. Right, then a procedure square will take an integer value in the range 1 to 9 as a parameter and output a number square. The boundary of a number square is made up of the character representing the parameter value. The inside of the number square is made up of the asterisk character. Right, so if we see, well, 1, then we're just going to have what a single 1 as output. 2, we're going to have what a 2 by 2 square, or obviously, yeah, consisting of 2s. Right, 3, well, of course, right, 3s, and then, yeah, obviously, what in the middle is going to be the asterisk. Likewise, yeah, for 4, right, up for 9. So, I mean, the way I thought of doing this is that, well, there's going to be, what, 4 situations. I mean, basically 4 borders, right, the top, bottom, left, and right, where we're going to have the number, and then, yeah, everything in the middle is then just going to be, what, an asterisk. So, I mean, let's think then how it could, well, so, yeah, I guess of course, to do that, right, we're going to be looping through rows and columns. So to get the top row, well, that's going to be when the row is equal to 1. To get the bottom row, well, that's when, I mean, let's call that P. That's when the row is equal to the parameter P. Or of course, yeah, in this case, row 9. Obviously, in this case, row 4, right, where is equal to the parameter. Likewise for the columns, where is 1, or yeah, here, right, where the column is equal to P. So yeah, I mean, I think, right, that's going to be how I do it. So, right, let's just try and, see if we can get this working in one go. Right, so to be honest, I've actually, forgot the name. Is it just, okay, just called square. And I suppose here what we can say size. Right, I'm actually not going to call it size just because, well, yeah, it's going to give us this error message on the site saying there's a function, of the same name. Alright, so I name it. Alright, let's call it like square size. I think that should be fine. Right, okay, that's going to be an integer. Right, let's go end procedure. And then what we said, and I suppose, right, if we're looping through the rows and columns, right, then we could just, right, let's declare row and column as integers. Right, then I think let's go for, and we are probably also going to need a line variable, because what we want to do, of course, well, we're going to loop through, the row and column, and then each, let's say each cell, we're of course going to check, well, right, is it a number, is it an asterisk, and then of course we're just going to append it to this line variable. Right, and then once we've looped through all of the columns, right, for that particular row, well then I guess once we loop through all of the columns, right, that's when we then output the line. So let's try and do this quickly. Right, we'll go row is 1, and that's going to be to the square size. Right here then, we're just going to let's say reinitialize this to 0, or well, just an empty string. Right then, column, this is going to be 1, again that's going to be to square size. And then here's where we want to check. So let's have an if statement. And what there's going to be 4 conditions. One is if row is equal to 1. Or we go, row is equal to square size. Or, well, again, right, column is equal to 1. And let's go, or, right, column is equal to square size. Right then, in these situations, let's go line, and we're just going to concatenate. Right, this is going to be what line concatenated with. And I suppose since this is a number, well, let's go string to num. And then what the square size, I mean, that's of course, the number that we're going to be outputting. Right, then let's have an else, let's have an end if. And then right inside here, we're just going to go line, and then, well, this will be the asterisk. I think that's fine. Then if we just go on next column, and then, so here, well, once we loop through all of the columns, this is where we then output the line. Right, then if we just go next row, and of course, since it's a procedure, well, we don't need to return. Now, let's actually just test that, and of course, well, I mean, we could just test it with 1 if we wanted. Let's say in the exam, of course, we don't have to test it, but just, in this video. Right, I'm just going to call it n. Right, let's say 1 to 9, so I'm actually going to test all of them. Right, let's go call, right, since it's a procedure. Right, let's call n, and then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to output an empty line. Just to, give a space between each one, right, kind of make it easier to see. And right, okay, so this is not a valid. Okay, right, so of course, right, this shouldn't be string to num. It should be the opposite, right, num to string. I mean, that's sort of the problem. Me, I think speaking and coding at the same time. My brain just doesn't work, to be honest. Right, so I think 1, 2, 3. Right, that's working. And then if we go to 9, all right. So I think this seems okay. And then what did that say? Right, okay, all right. So parameter validation is not required. So of course, just make sure you read, all the details fully. How much? Okay, I mean, so, well, all right, for this one, they give you a huge amount, sort of, 1.5 pages. Right then, the next one, a computer system for a shop stores information about each customer. The items of information include name and address, both postal and email, together with payment details and order history. The system also stores the product categories they're interested in and how they would like to be contacted. The shop wants to add a program module that will generate emails to be sent to customers who may be interested in receiving details of new products. Right, state 3 items of information that the new module would need. Justify your choice in each case. Right, so I mean, well, I think let's just read this again. Right, if we're generating emails, then I guess, right, okay, so well, one thing it's going to need, right, it's definitely going to need the email address. Probably their name, because you're going to want to title the email with let's say hello or like dear. So like dear Mr. whatever. Right, and then yeah, so if this is about who may be interested in receiving details of new products, then probably you're going to want this one, right? The product categories they're interested in, because of course, well, you want to recommend, right, specific products. So right, well, yeah, let's just write this, right? Let's say name. What to, I guess, what title, or yeah, let's say address the email. Right, let's say, yeah, address the email to specific customers. Yeah, so right then I think maybe I'm just going to say, right, maybe IE, right, just give more detail, or IE, like, I don't know, what, personalization. I guess personalization, right, makes the email seem more friendly. Right, yeah, makes email, right, seem more friendly. And of course, you know, obviously for the business that's going to be beneficial, right? Because I mean, if you use their name, then yeah, maybe they're going to be more likely to actually, you know, buy your product. Yeah, rather than if the person thinks, well, this email has been like mass spammed to like a million other people. Yeah, probably I guess they'd be less likely to actually, you know, purchase something in that case. Right. Anyway, the next one. Well, let's go what email address. I think, well, the justification, right, fairly self-explanatory. I guess what to send the email. I mean, yeah, what to send email, right, to correct address. Right, and then the last one, so, right, let's see what product categories they're interested in. Right, yeah, product categories. Right, yeah, they are right, interested in. Right, so the justification, I mean, okay, I mean, well, let's read this again. Right, generate emails to be sent to customers who may be interested in receiving details of new products. Okay, so I guess what, let's say I mean, well, of course, I mean, yeah, you could just like, you know, mass spam everyone emails about like all kinds of products. But realistically, people are probably going to get fed up, right? They're probably going to add you to like the spam, yeah, I guess, you know, spam folder, right? Maybe they're going to, you know, report your email address. So yeah, I mean, probably, well, I guess, well, I mean, what you say is kind of more effective. Yeah, we only, right, want to, I guess, yeah, send emails. Right, let's say, yeah, send emails to people, right, who might be interested in buying. Let's say, yeah, who might be interested in this product. And I mean, yeah, if you wanted, you could give more details, right? I mean, well, one is going to be, right, let's say save, yeah, money, right? Let's say save money on sending unnecessary emails. Right, unnecessary. Yeah, I think I've definitely missed a few letters there. Right, unnecessary emails. Yeah, and let's say, right, and also, I mean, what, keep the email trust score high. Yeah, I guess what you say, what the email domain or email address, right, trust score high. Because otherwise, like, if lots of people are reporting your email address as being spam, well, then other people are also not going to see it, because of course, right, that's going to get, maybe it's going to get added to some, you know, global block list. Or certainly, for example, let's say you're sending it to like a Gmail account. Well, if lots of people from Gmail, you know, report this email address, well, then it's not going to get shown to other Gmail users. Right, so here we want to identify 2 items of customer information that would not be required by the new module. Right, again, justify your choice. So I guess here, what, it's not going to need the post address, and it's also not going to need, I guess, their payment details. Yeah, I mean, like, order history, you know, like, maybe, because, like, if it's asking about specific products, well, yeah, maybe you don't necessarily need that. But I guess, I mean, just the kind of general categories, I mean, that's probably quite useful. So I think I'm going to say what, postal and payment details. Yeah, let's say what, postal address. Justification, well, I mean, well, nothing physical is being shipped. Yeah, of course, well, you could say, what, it's only an email, right? It's only digital. I guess, I know, right, let's say, yeah, email, right, is only digital. Right, and then the next one, I guess, what, payment details. I mean, let's say, I don't know, right, user, yeah, is not purchasing anything. And let's say, right, maybe we're and sending, let's say, right, sending payment details in email is unsafe and would reduce user trust. Right, in email, yeah, let's say it's going to be what, unnecessary. Right, let's say, yeah, unnecessary, right, unsafe. Right, and reduce user trust, because of course, I mean, the user might think, well, like, yeah, why are you sending me my payment details, right? Of course, yeah, then they might just block you. And this is also weird, like some websites, they'll actually send you your password in plain text, you know, via the email. And I mean, okay, well, I guess, yeah, if they do it when you sign up, right, that's fine, because of course, well, they've just generated that. But like, if they actually know your password, you know, of course, yeah, once you've been using the website for a long time, well, I mean, that's actually going to tell you that actually they're not storing the passwords in a secure way, because of course, well, if the passwords are encrypted, and I guess, well, especially right, if they're hashed, right, if they're hashed and salted, which is going to be another thing, right? I mean, yeah, people can search this if they want. They say, well, passwords, right? They should, well, I guess, right, first they should be salted. So salted basically means what, you're just going to add like some random bytes to the password, or you add some random string to the end of the password. Right, then you're going to hash it. Now, I won't talk about this because, you know, it's going to go on a couple of minutes probably, but yeah, people can see that. You know, and of course, again, right, if they're sending your password in plain text, well, I mean, that obviously proves that, yeah, of course, right, they're not doing this, right, since hashing is a one-way function. Right, if someone has the hash, right, they've actually got no way of going back to your password. So of course, yeah, I mean, sending someone's password in plain text, right, I mean, that's, yeah, it's going to be kind of untrustworthy, because, well, I mean, you're going to think, right, why does the website need my password? Right, anyway, the program includes a module to validate personal identification numbers or PINs, right? This is used when a customer pays for goods using a bank card. A state transition diagram has been produced for this module. The table shows the inputs, outputs, and states for this part of the program. Right, okay, so let's just zoom out so we can see it all on one page. Right, current state S1, that's going to have an input of PIN. Right here it's going to have no output. Right, then S2. Right, we want to complete the state transition diagram to represent the information given in the table. Okay, so let's say that then we want to draw from S1 to S2. Right, this this has input pin. And yeah, of course, right here there's no output. And I mean, as we can see, right, if there's an output, well, it's just separated with the pipe. Right, so of course, well, the thing on the left is going to be the input. Right, then the pipe, and then of course, well, the thing on the right is going to be the output. Right, so right, I'm just going to tick it off as I've done it. Right, then S2, then it's going to say re-input pin. Right, that's the input. Right, the output is display error. Right, then the next state is S2. Right, so that, I mean, that's going to be this loop which we already have. So let's just hear then what re-input pin. Right, re-input pin, and then right here, so yeah, this is going to be the output line, right, the pipe. Right, it's going to, what, display error. Right, and then, well, let's tick that off. Right, then S2, so, okay, here we see what S2 goes to S1. So I think, well, this one we've already got, and it says, yeah, cancel reprompt. So, yeah, that's the one they've already done. Right, then this one, we're S2 to S4. Right, so here we actually don't have S4, so, yeah, let's just draw this. Right, and then, so this is going to say what valid, well, I guess, yeah, valid pin is going to be the input. Right, and I think, yeah, here I've got no space. Of course, right, that's going to be the line. And then, yeah, on the other side of the line, what's going to be enable payment. You know, yeah, of course, we're in the exam, you know, you're going to be writing smaller, right? So yeah, just make sure to, yeah, kind of, you know, have what this should be on the left, right? You know, this should be on the right. Right, and then what S2 to S3. So yeah, let's just go here, right, S3, and right, we want to say too many tries, and then the output is going to be block account. Okay, all right, there we go. So I think what I said, too many tries. And then, yeah, the output, right, let's go block account. Yeah, and I think that should be fine. And then in this case, right, I mean, there's going to be no ending. Yeah, I think there's no ending state. You know, of course, right, if there was an ending state, what then we would actually have, you know, the double circle. But yeah, I mean, here, yeah, I mean, I don't know, like, maybe they would consider this one the ending state. So I think you could do that if you wanted, although, yeah, maybe it's not required. yeah, hopefully they would accept either. Right, I mean, since they've not really specified, what's the ending state. Then the last question, a computer shop assembles computers using items bought from several suppliers. A text file stock.txt contains information about each item. Right, information for each item is stored as a single line in the stock.txt file in the format. Right, so we're item num supply code description. And we see item num, this is going to be 4 numeric characters. They're going to be a unique number in the range, sort of 1 to 599. And of course, right, this is also going to have the leading zeros. Right, yeah, this is going to be a string. Right, then the supply code, 3 alphabetic characters. Right, the description, and that's going to be a minimum of 12 characters. Right, the file is organised in ascending order of item num and does not contain all possible values in the range. So of course, yeah, like, I don't know, maybe they've got, like item 1, right, but they don't have item 2. Right, a program has started to define program modules as follows. Right, only alpha, this has already been written. It's called with a parameter of type string and returns true if the string contains only alphabetic characters, otherwise returns false. So I guess, yeah, only letters. Right, then CheckInfo is called with a parameter of type string representing a line of item information. It will check whether the item information in the string is valid and returns true if the information is valid, right, otherwise returns false. So basically what that wants us to validate all of these. So I guess this one's going to be 4 numeric characters, right? Then, this one, right, 3 alphabetic. And I guess for that, we can use this only alpha. Right, and of course description, that should have a length of greater than or equal to 12. And if we actually think about this, I think this one is going to be 4, this one is 3, right, that's 7, right, this one is 12. Therefore, the whole thing should be greater than or equal to 19, right, the length. And then, yeah, in that case, we actually don't have to even check, like, is this greater than or equal to 12? Because, like, as long as this is fine, yeah, and, as long as these two are fine, right, then, of course, yeah, I guess we know this is going to be bigger than 12. Yeah, again, assuming it's bigger than 19, right, and yeah, assuming these two are also correct. Right, so yeah, write pseudocode for CheckInfo, and right, only alpha should be used as part of your solution. Right, so of course, as always, right, just go to the exam questions, then of course, yeah, find this CheckInfo question. And right here we can see, this only alpha has been implemented already. Likewise, we've got some examples, stock.txt. Right, then if we go open in code editor, and right, let's just go ahead and, yeah, paste, right, these instructions here. Right, and I'm just going to make that a bit smaller and, yeah, probably move this across. Right, so I think this one, it's going to be a function, and I think, yeah, it's called check okay, no, not check item, right, it's called CheckInfo. Yeah, just, looking here. Wait, is that correct? Yeah, CheckInfo. Right, and then it says it's going to take, right, it's going to call with a parameter of type string representing a line. Right, so let's just do that then. Let's go line, right, that's a string. And yeah, let's zoom in a little bit. And right, let's go returns Boolean. Now, I think what I'm going to do, I'm probably just going to declare variables for item num, the supplier code. And yeah, I think description we probably won't need to do. So right, let's go item num. And what I might actually do is I might declare 2. I'll have 1 for the item num string. Yeah, and then maybe 1 for the actual item num, right, but converted to an integer. So let's do that, right, item num string. Right, that's going to be a string. Right, then let's go, I guess just item num, I think that's fine. And then actually, right, so we said the supply code is also a string. Right, yeah, I think, right, maybe that's going to be enough. Then I think the first thing we said, we want to check that it should be 19, let's say 19 characters or longer. And for these, whereas, let's say you want to validate a lot of things, the common pattern you can use is where basically you can check, of course, yeah, do each of the validations, and right, if the validation fails, then return false. So it's kind of, yeah, of course, I guess validating the first one, right, and then obviously return false. Right, then you validate the second one, right, of course, if that if that fails, then return false. And of course, yeah, just keep doing that, right, then if you pass all of them, and of course, if you reach the end, then you can just return true. Because of course, yeah, then you've, successfully passed, right, all of the validation. So let's just go length, and this is going to be the length of line. So I guess, the failure case is if it's less than 19, because we said 19 or equal is going to be okay. Then here, let's go return false. Right, then I think, let's try and get this item num, or we'll try to extract that. So, and well, let's go to the item num string. Now, of course, I mean, since this is starting from the left, well, we can just use left, and then we want the 4 leftmost characters. Right, let's check if it's a number, because of course, it could be, I don't know, like A, right, it could be, or yeah, some, like exclamation mark, right, it could be any symbol. So to check if it's numeric, well, we can go is num, and actually, I'm not sure if is num is going to work when it has leading zeros like this. I mean, do they? Yeah, because to be honest, right, in the I think in the syllabus they actually don't specify that. So, right, to be honest, I mean, of course, like this is going to be an implementation detail, right? I mean, this depends, like, does this actually work or not? Right, and hang on, let me just, okay, right, yeah, there's nothing there anyway. Right, okay, I mean, so well, I guess on the website it's saying true, right? If you actually look at the Cambridge insert, where I guess they don't specify, right, what happens if there's leading zeros. I mean, I think probably you can assume it's going to work if there's leading zeros. Yeah, I mean, that should be fine. Right, so let's go, if, right, is num, and that's of item num string. Well, if this is false, right, then of course it means, well, it's not a valid number. Right, of course, well, if it's not a valid number, well, yeah, let's just return false. Right, then I think we can actually convert this to a number, so we want to go item num, and right, to do that, well, it's going to be string to num. Right, we're going to take the item num string, and then we just want to check what it should be in this range, 1, 2, 5, 9, 9, 9. So I guess, well, let's say if item num, and well, we want to check if it's outside the range. So let's go, if it's less than 1, right, or if item num is greater than this 5999. Right, then what we want to do, well, again, of course, right, just return false. Right, and then what else do we need to check? So we check the supply code. Right, so this is using the is I guess only alpha. Right, so again here then let's go. Yeah, and I mean, like here I guess we could assign to the supply code, or we could just directly use it. So to get the supply code, well, since this is in the mid, and we want to think, right, we want to start from right, so we want to start here then from character 5, and then of course we're getting 3 characters, because of course the first 4 characters are the I guess item num. Right, so let's go line, right, we're starting on character 5, then we're getting 3, and right, if this supply code, I guess if it equals false, of course, right, let's go return false. Right, let's go end if, and then I think, let's go return true. Right, I'm just going to read this again, just check we've got everything. So called with a parameter string, okay, checks whether it's valid, right, okay, so I think that's just the simple, definition. Right, so 4 numeric characters, I mean, we've done that, because I think here, right, of course, the length, I guess this range, so range check, I guess, I mean, this one kind of format check, right, alphabetic. Right, description a minimum of 12 characters. Now, I mean, this one technically we don't need to check, since we're kind of doing that here. And to be honest, you could put a comment here, right? We could say, let's say if this and other validation passes, right, then description, I guess, description must be, right, 12 characters or longer. So I mean, of course, you can add comments to your code, right, in the exam as well, although I think it's not required. Right, so let's just test these with a few examples then. CheckInfo, and I mean, first one, well, let's try ABC, right, of course that's shorter than 19, and then let's try and test all of these cases. Right, the next one, so actually, right, I'm going to copy a valid line, because this one should be valid, and then let's just try and change some individual things. Right, this one, let's just make this an A, right, so of course, now this is num should fail. Right, and then hang on, so what's going to be the next one? We want to check, right, I guess, let's check if it's 0. So, okay, right, let's go 0. And then I think this one, let's go 6,000. Right, and then, right, so this one should be only alphabetic. Right, so let's say, for example, this can be, I don't know, like a 1. And hang on, right, and then right, let's try and have a valid one at the end. Alright, so hopefully these first, what is it, 5? 5 or 6, right, they should say false. And then the last one should hopefully say true. No, right, so why does this say false? Okay, so just having a look, actually I realised it was not a problem with the code I've just written, okay, it was actually a problem with this here, in particular this if statement. Now, I thought when I wrote this before, well, of course I would have checked it, but yeah, I don't know, maybe I guess maybe I uploaded some old version by mistake or something. Yeah, there's obviously a problem with this one. Right, and now, well, of course, as we can see right now, if we run it, yeah, these first, 5 are going to be false, and then, yeah, the last one's going to be true. Right then, the next one, so a new module is defined as follows, where AddItem is called with a parameter of type string representing valid information for a new item that is not currently in the stock.txt file. It's going to create a new file, new stock.txt, from the contents of the file stock.txt, and adds the new item information at the appropriate place in new stock. Right, okay, as a reminder, stock.txt is organised in ascending order of item num and does not contain all possible values in the range. Right, we want to write pseudocode for the module AddItem. Right, so yeah, let's just go and copy this, and right, let's just paste this here at the bottom then. And probably, right, I'm just going to comment out these outputs. Now, right, I'm just going to move this across just so we can see, yeah, I guess the file. So let's think if we're trying to insert item 30, then we're going to think, well, 30 is greater than 1. Right, then, of course, well, it's greater than this. Right, but then it's going to be, what, less than, 0.839. So I think what we can say is, if it's less than the item, or yeah, I guess if it's, less than the item, right, then, of course, we can insert it. And the thing is, right, we're only going to want to insert one time, because otherwise, if we just check if it's less, right, it's then going to insert before this one, right, and before this one, and before the next one. So I guess we're also going to need a flag, of course, and yeah, we'll only insert if it's less than this item, right, and if we've not inserted before. So yeah, let's do that, and this is I guess, right, this is a procedure. Yeah, right, it just says module, and then, of course, right, well, there's no return, right, so it's going to be a procedure. Right, so, okay, valid information. So I guess, this is just going to be the line again. Let's probably say, like, new line. Right then, let's think about the variables we need. So, I mean, one is going to be the old file name. So let's actually make this a constant. Right, let's say, yeah, old file. And that's just going to be stock, right, .txt. Right, let's go constant, and let's say, new file. And that's new stock .txt. Right then, of course, if we're reading, we're just going to declare. I mean, I guess we can say, like, line, or we can say maybe current line. Right, that's going to be a string, and then probably I think we're going to want, let's say I think definitely we're going to want, our item number, or yeah, I guess the new item number. So right, let's say, yeah, new item num, and I think here we can store it as a string. Okay, yeah, I mean that should be okay. Or of course, if we wanted, right, we could convert it to a number again. Yeah, okay, actually, right, maybe let's just convert to a number, right? I mean, do what we did in the previous one. Right, yes, let's go new item num. Right, let's also go, yeah, I guess we can go old item num, although, yeah, probably we don't really need it, because, we can just calculate directly. Alright, and then, yeah, maybe that's everything we need. Okay, well, then we also said the Boolean. So maybe let's say inserted, or yeah, I think just inserted, that's fine. So right, what we say then, okay, right, that's not suggesting. Right, let's just go end procedure. Right, so what we want to do, yeah, okay, why is that not suggesting? Right, I'm not sure. Alright, yeah, I mean, probably some error with the site. Right, okay, so insert, this is going to be false. Then let's just open both files. So let's go open file. This is going to be the old file. And right, let's go for, yeah, this will be for read. Right, then if we go open file, right, this is the new file. And okay, this is going to be for write. Right, then I guess, I mean, yeah, we just want to loop through. I mean, is there anything else we need to do? Probably we can actually get the new item number. So yeah, let's think of that, right, new item num. Right, and then in order to get this, we just want to use string to, string to num, and then here this is just going to be left, and again this is going to be new line, and then just the four leftmost characters. Right, okay, and then, yeah, right, okay, hang on, right, I think, then let's just loop through the file. So let's go, right, while not end of file, and that's going to be the old file. right, and yeah, okay, so I think, right, just like that. Right, then what we want to do, so let's go read file, and we want to read, well, the old file, and let's read that into this current line. Right, then in order to get the to get this new item num, so I mean here we just kind of want to do the same thing, right? So I'm just going to copy this. It's going to be what, string to num, and then left, and then in this time what's going to be the current line. Right, and then I suppose here we can just check. So we can say, well, if the new item num is less than, yeah, I think that's right. Okay, yeah, if the new item num is less than the old item num, yeah, all right. So let's write that. Okay, if new item num, right, less than old item num, right, and then remember we also want the and, right? So and, yeah, inserted equals false. Right, well, okay, then what we want to do, well, of course, right, then we just want to insert, you know, in this position. So let's go write file, and right, this will be the new file. Right, the data we're going to write, well, that's going to be the new line. Yeah, okay, right, cool, like that. And then I guess here what we just want to set inserted and assign that to be true. Right, and then I think now after this, I mean, here is where we can actually just write the, yeah, I guess write the current line, or yeah, this is kind of the old line basically. So actually, right, maybe I'm going to call this current line. Let's just replace that and let's call it, right, let's go change all occurrences. And yeah, let's call that old line. Yeah, because I think, I mean, here, if we insert the old line, well, okay, I mean, let's say, right, if this is not true, well, then, of course, it's just going to insert the old line. For example, you know, line 1, right, that's fine, or yeah, item number 1. Right, but if this is true, let's say, again, if we're doing 30, well, 30 is going to be true, I guess, yeah, after this line here. So, right, I mean, then it's going to insert 30, let's say, you know, in this position. And then, yeah, once it's written that, right, then, of course, it's just going to write the current line again, or yeah, write the old line again. So yeah, I mean, let's do that. Let's go write old file, and this is the right old line. Okay, hang on, right, yeah, all right, this is not the old file. Okay, it's the new file. Right, I think, yeah, I think maybe that'll work. And then let's just go close. Right, so yeah, right, close file, and well, let's close the new file, and also let's close the old file. Right, then, yeah, I mean, hopefully that'll work. Right, let's call this, and right, let's go, yeah, add item. Okay, all right, so I've realized why the suggestions are not working, and it's because, well, this thing here, yeah, if we comment that, of course, right, then it should work. Right, so I'm just going to copy one of these lines, and, you know, just change the number, and yeah, change some of the data. Right, so for example, let's make this like 30, and I guess rather than SSD, I don't know, maybe let's call it, I'm just going to say it's a game, because yeah, I think I've got all the other things. Let's say, yeah, maybe a fun game. Yeah, I know, yeah, just a fun game to play. Right, so if we run this, let's see if this works. Okay, so it's done something. Let's just move that across. Right, okay, so it's not actually inserted anything. Yeah, okay, right, so they're both identical. Did I use the wrong file? I mean, okay, yeah, I mean, so here then, right, we set this to false, right, and of course, I mean, yeah, that should be fine. So I'm guessing it's going to be this probably. Like, let's just output this. Let's go the new item num. And then, yeah, let's also go the old item num as well. Okay, alright, so I've realized here. Right, okay, so yeah, hang on, this should be the old item num. Alright, then, well, let's try again, see if it works. Okay, so I think that's worked. Yeah, okay, so we see, right, 26, right, then 30, and then, yeah, 839. Right, so yeah, I mean, this one seems to be okay. And of course, I mean, if you wanted, you could also test, alright, like, I'm just going to change this. So, for example, if we change this to 2, right, yeah, we see that's updated. And then let's just say, right now, we just want to insert this here in position 1. And then, yeah, okay, so we see that inserts here. And of course, you know, you can also try, right, okay, well, hang on, here we got 599. Let's just make that, for example, 5,000. And then, yeah, let's insert this one at, I don't know, like maybe 5,800. Right, let's run that again. and wait, did I update that correctly? Right, okay, so right, I mean here we got 5,000. Yeah, let's try run it again. Right, okay, so why is this not inserted properly? Okay, so I think, yeah, maybe here then we can just have an if statement at the end, and let's just go what if inserted equals false. Right, then what we can do, well, I guess, yeah, then we can just copy this. So let's go, yeah, okay, I think just paste that there, and then, I mean, hopefully this should work. And, well, let's just try that again. And, yeah, okay, alright, so right now you can see this inserts properly. You know, now to be honest, I think, I mean, this last bit at the end, you know, I mean, I did just check, right, they do actually have this in the mark scheme. But yeah, I think, I mean, you know, say when the time conditions, right, the pressure of the exam, you know, probably almost no one would actually remember to do this. And of course, you know, this is why, like, don't just test your code with, like, one bit of data, right? Yeah, make sure to test, well, of course, well, let's say normal, abnormal, you know, boundary, extreme, yeah, all of those things. And of course, yeah, here we see what is the what extreme, yeah, it's the extreme boundary data, right? This, yeah, kind of being the one that was problematic. Right, okay, and then, yeah, I think just one more. Yeah, right, so the program contains modules while supplier exists. Right, yeah, it's really annoying when that thing, you know, drops down. Okay, contains supplier exists and check supplier. These have been written but contain errors. These modules are called from several places in the main program. And testing of the main program's right, integration testing has to stop. Identify a method that can be used to continue testing the main program before the errors in these modules have been corrected, and describe how this would work. Alright, so I mean this one then, what the method's going, well, it's going to be stub testing. And stub testing, I mean this is where, let's say we've got some function that, well, of course, right, doesn't work or hasn't been implemented yet. Then, I mean, kind of like we said before, right, either we just give it a dummy value, so we can say, yeah, this, you know, function just returns a dummy value, right, just some, you know, sort of test data, sample data. Or for example, you can just, you know, completely replace it, maybe just comment it out, or you can, yeah, just, I don't know, have some like output statement or something, right, when you reach there. So let's say that maybe, yeah, I guess maybe let's say replace. Well, let's say replace, right, let's say, you know, comment out, because I mean, probably we don't want to delete the whole code. Right, comment out the erroneous code. Yeah, or we can say maybe the erroneous, let's say, function bodies. Right, let's, yeah, maybe right, and I guess, yeah, well, either what we can say, like, return. And I mean, all right, let's not call it a function. I mean, let's say module. Since, I mean, here they actually don't specify, right, if it's a function. Although, you know, probably we can assume that, right, exists. I mean, this suggests it's going to return a Boolean. I mean, check supplier again, you know, like, sounds like maybe it's going to return a Boolean. But anyway, right, so yeah, check the erroneous module bodies and either, well, return, let's say, yeah, return a dummy value. Right, let's say a dummy value for testing. Right, let's say, yeah, or simply output. Right, or simply output, yeah, I don't know, I guess, I don't know, just like simple message. I mean, that should be fine. Yeah, let's say, right, simple message, you know, stating the module was successfully called. Right, I mean, so, well, here it just says describe, but I mean, yeah, let's try to think, I mean, how we can explain it, right, for 3 marks. Of course, I mean, one mark should be for the method, hopefully, or then, yeah, 2 marks for the description. We can say, what, yeah, this, I mean, it's kind of saying what it says in the question already, but, you know, we can say, well, yeah, this allows us, or let's say, yeah, this allows us to test other parts of the program, you know, even though these particular modules are not working. Yeah, let's say, right, this allows us, yeah, let's say, right, to continue testing. Right, let's say continue testing other parts of the program. Right, let's say, yeah, without these 2 modules working. Alright, anyway, guys, I mean, yeah, I think this video, I mean, there was quite a few mistakes, to be honest. But I mean, I guess eventually we got things working. Now, I mean, as always, right, if you got any questions, then of course, ask them in the comments. And I mean, if the video is useful, then see you again in the next video.